Good morning everyone, my name is Alice Brown and you're listening to my news round dissertation. Over the course of the next 10 minutes I'm going to give you a breakdown of all the key elements that are central to my dissertation. I have decided to present my pitch to you in the same format in which my dissertation will take shape. For the next couple of minutes my pitch will be presented to you in this very simple radio format. So, what is the concept of my dissertation? I have decided to create a total of 5 news packages for the CBBC news programme News Round. Research indicates that News Round will centre its main programme and website on 5 topics. I have decided to cover the following: animals, Weird and Wonderful, which is made up of odd news and scientific news, sports, entertainment and general news. Due to the target audience being between the ages of 6 and 12, each article will be vetted and reported on in a manner that will refrain from creating any form of distress and misunderstanding. I will elaborate on this further later on in the pitch. Each package will contain 3 interviewees. As the dissertation brief states, I will be required to create these packages for radio, TV and web. TV packages will last a total of 8 to 10 minutes, radio 5 to 6 minutes, and a number of articles will be created for the online format. The chosen station for the TV packages will be CBBC. Justification for the station is quite straightforward. The BBC has been broadcasting News Round for a number of decades now, and as such, audiences now associate News Round with the BBC, and recently to its child-orientated channel CBBC. News Round have a very good website, which I'll be uploading my web content through. I'll aim to do a supporting web article to each package I produce. The CBBC channel and News Round don't have radio content. However, I would like to propose putting my audio on BBC Learning. BBC Learning is a podcast station for children. It's aimed at children 7 to 11, which is near enough news rounds. They have different elements like music, stories, children's exercise and literacy, but nothing to do with news on it. This is where I would like to put News Round's radio input onto. Now, I'm going to give you a visual treatment so that you can gain a greater insight into what to expect from the packages and the overall concept I am pitching. First and foremost, the visuals. I am the presenter for each of the packages, so I will go off to each location and create a small introduction to each interview. Of course, the intro will be filmed in front of a building or a location that is relevant to the interviewee. So, how will it be filmed? Let me show you. Now, not every story I will report on will be visually interesting. That's where something as simple as the way it's filmed can jazz up the story. I might, for example, start the link with the camera in the Dutch position. That angle might level out and move into a track, where I will no doubt be walking to a point on the location with a ridiculous amount of enthusiasm. Now, some of these angles will be the bread and butter of the visual style, if you will. But if the topic is at real risk of being boring on certain key phrases or words, I can pull out the simple crash zoom. Finally, to make sure we are doing everything in our power to make sure it's not boring and maintain some visual vibrance, the cameraman will never be using one of these. That's right, because tripods create a static and documentary feel. This makes everyone rather sleepy. Oi! Oh, and before I forget, I am not talking to a camera, but a person. What I mean by this is I will be breaking down the third barrier and engaging with the audience. This is as simple as asking you guys a question. Is it cold? I feel there's a lot of journalistic integrity when covering children's news. from the way you tell it and explain the story to them. My interviewees will be those with great credentials, from a Doctor of Astrophysics to pillars of society, like members of local government. In the form of a TV programme, Newsround has very little in the way of competition. As a result, the main source of inspiration is Newsround itself. For many decades now, it stood alone in the effort of providing children with what I feel is essential education to the goings-on in the wider world. Everything from the colour scheme, sound design, to even the language used by the presenters is orientated around providing the most candid but safe insight into key subject matters. I strongly feel Newsround encapsulates what it means to understand your audience and its needs. It is because of this I will closely follow the example set for each TV package. In respect to other formats such as radio and web, Newsround has competition, which for me means inspiration. First News is an online newspaper site which is aimed at children, much like Newsround's. There is a difference, however. Newsround is very playful and eye-catching, whilst First News is formal and serious. I have mentioned that the target audience for Newsround is children. Newsround commands the attention of around 170,000 children each time it's broadcasted. Although the numbers may sound small compared to the adult counterpart, it is imperative to value that children engage with television heavily. I want to now spend a few moments elaborating further on the understanding of the needs and requirements of the target audience. First and foremost, it is understood that children have a great appreciation for bite-sized pieces of information, particularly if it's a fact that is hard to believe in. So, in essence, a short news programme full of facts is something they would enjoy, laying waste to the notion that learning isn't fun. Confidently knowing that the audience will appreciate and benefit from each report I create is one of the key motivations for electing to create packages for Newsround. Understanding the audience is a main drive in selecting what content is best, and, just as importantly, how the content is covered. For children aged 10 and under, careful consideration must be maintained with the use of language. Things that are said by adults is often taken literally, even if what has been said is not fully understood. Irony and sarcasm is a concept often lost on children. With that in mind, it is very important that each aspect of a report is clear and concise, avoiding all forms of ambiguity. Children are raised within the safe environment of their family homes and schools. Subsequently, they have yet to develop any form of cynical thinking. For news packages to start this process of thinking can be both distressing and unethical. It is essential to maintain a sense of fairness within news topics, where there may be a sense of struggle and difficulty that must be met with fair points of solution and safety. Alongside fair and literal thinking, children engage heavily with forms of humour. Slapstick humour proving to be of particular effectiveness. I feel this element is fulfilled by careful selection of the presenter. By not taking myself seriously, any form of ability to laugh at myself, and in general make silly comments, children may be likely to respond to each report and package. Even though I'm only creating 5 packages for Newsround, I want to do as many as possible and select my best 5. The reason for this is I want to put forward the most interesting stories. The budget can't be accurate based on the fact that this is journalism and you can't predict what's around the corner. However, this budget is going to be based on 10 packages. I say 10 as I would preferably like to double the amount asked of me than not have enough to choose from. So, as it stands, this is how the budget looks like.
The reason I haven't opted for a tripod or any other camera stabiliser is simply because after watching hours of Newsround reports, I've noticed that they seem to use the camera handheld. This also ties in with the fact that I am using the EX3 and not the EX1. The EX3 is fully HD like the EX1, but it's much bigger in size and has a shoulder mount, making it easy to be handheld. The SXS card that I need can only record 28 minutes of high quality filming, so I'm going to take 2 of these cards every day. I will also take a laptop with me so I can offload the footage onto a memory stick and be able to delete the footage on the memory stick and get more minutes of recording. The reason I'm using a radio microphone and boom microphone is purely from experience of doing pieces to camera with a boom mic and the sound being poor. So the boom mic will be handy for interviews and shooting, whilst the pieces to camera will be best used with a boom.
I'm now going to talk about the topics for each of the packages, the interviewees and their credentials. Warhorse, the West End production, is coming to Sunderland for a limited time only. I have spoken to councillors about the up-and-coming events in Sunderland, and they let me know of the success of bringing Warhorse to the city. Why is this relevant, you ask? Well, Sunderland Empire has been working hard to bring West End productions to the city. In the summer, the Empire opened up a summer stage school for children wanting to be actors. I'm currently talking with the Empire's manager, with thanks to the council, about filming and interviewing the West End producer and any child actors that are involved. Newsround always features sport. It's on their website and is always mentioned in a report on the TV show. It's extremely important for kids to be active, and is always a hot topic about their welfare and health. The BBC's mantra is to inform, to educate and to entertain, and I feel it's only responsible to follow this in sport. My aim is to come up with an inspirational sports piece, to inspire kids to do sport and not put them down. I'm in talks with a martial arts fitness club, Evo, about a young lad who won a regional championship, but I'm aiming to find others. BBC Look North are currently featuring a piece called Sports Kids, which has gave me ideas for interviewees. The Weird and Wonderful section will be odd stories or science. After doing research into what children like, both these topics were very popular. I've applied for tickets to Stargazing Live in Gibbside. I would really like to pursue a package like this, as it's interactive and gets children involved. Going out and watching the stars is a magical experience. Interviews have been lined up with Dr. Maya Dillon and Jagjit Singh to comment on any science package I produce and even direct me in the world of science. Children love animals. Animals have always played a big role in CBBC, from Blue Peter, Deadly 60 and Newsround. They always like to feature animal stories, and there's even a section on their website dedicated to them. I've created a relationship with Dog Trust in Sadburge Darlington, so if any news comes out, they will do interviews for me. I'm hoping to create a relationship with Edinburgh Zoo and cover any news that happens there. I will feature general news for my packages and angle them from a child's perspective. A good example of this is Newsround's edition on the 6th of December. They lightly covered a story of George Osborne's budget cuts. Now, instead of focusing on this, they focused on Ed Balls, who in the debate stuttered when arguing with Mr. Osborne. The report then turns into a feature on children with stammer. This way of covering news will be what I will try and copy. That's all now from me and my dissertation pitch. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm ready and waiting for your questions. Thank you.